Hello everyone and welcome to this week's episode of the Aftermath series. Let us waste no time at all and dive right into this week's episode of Critical Role. So today's episode is going to be rather short, mainly due to the fact that about 60% of this episode was the party trying to plan what to do next. But nonetheless, there are still a few things that I wish to talk about. The first one being, I really hope that the party does not wear Essek out. I'm really starting to like Essek, and I think Essek is starting to like the party, but it's clear that Essek's patience is wearing thin. I'm sure at the end of the day everything will be fine, but I hope the party doesn't push him too far. The other minor thing before the party was teleported was finding out that Dairon wasn't home once the party arrived to their Jor house. Now, this isn't necessarily a shock. I'm sure she hasn't been around on other occasions, just the party hasn't been there to see that she's not there. So while there's probably no cause for concern, I still want to bring up my theory about last episode where I think that Dairon may be exiting the story by way of death or maybe imprisonment. So the fact that she isn't home does worry me a little bit. But also, maybe Dairon could very well be in the house. Not tried to message her, but there was no response. Maybe she just didn't feel like responding, or not missed. So I guess there is a chance that Dairon is home, but who knows what Dairon might be up to. And so the party was teleported to try and pursue Oban, the Laughing Hand, and Yasha. And there was a lot of this building tension with the party making the plans, trying to figure out where they are, coming across those two corpses, getting a little bit of information from them. Just this whole episode was just building to one pivotal moment, trying to separate Juriel's head from Oban and the rest of them. And unfortunately, when it really was needed, the dice rolls were not in the favor of the Mighty Nine. They did have some very clutch rolls early on in the episode, but again, it did not come through when they needed it most. What can you do? Sometimes the dice just aren't in your favor. But that whole sequence of events with the party falling through the canopy after the polymorph spell wore off, skidding off of the ground and alerting Oban of their presence, and that whole scene of the party trying to hide as the Laughing Hand searches for them was so anxiety-inducing, and it almost led to a really awesome moment of perhaps Yasha finding the party hiding and then breaking the charm that Oban has on her and not alerting Oban of their presence. We did get a glimpse of Yasha resisting Oban's hold over her as Oban attempted to grab her chin, but an electrical spark arced from her face to Oban's hand. But that resistance was quickly squelched as he maintained his hold on her. So it's clear that Yasha and maybe even Cord are trying to fight Oban. And another really awesome clutch moment was Ford's use of Charm Monster on the Laughing Hand. Now ultimately it worked out, but there was a second dice roll that needed to happen after the charm took place. I am assuming that it was a contested charm roll against Ford and Oban, as I'm assuming Oban is charming the Laughing Hand similar to how he's charming Yasha. And so Ford was able to beat Oban's grasp over the Laughing Hand. And then we got an awesome moment of the Laughing Hand walking up very close to Ford, looming over him and laughing. And just that mental picture is so chilling but so awesome because, well, the last time that Ford faced up against the Laughing Hand almost killed him. So seeing both of them again in this sort of a mental picture is really cool. And it's moments like these for Ford that really make him shine. We know he's struggled with feelings about his appearance and various aspects of his personality and things like that. We do know that he did look up to Vander and saw him as a father figure, and he talked about how charismatic he was and how he commanded respect and had this presence about him that made heads turn and made people listen to him, which is why for so long Ford used Vanderen's accent. And while Ford did cast a spell to charm the Laughing Hand, it's still a similar sentiment as Ford's commanding presence brought the Laughing Hand to his heel. So I just thought that was a really nice parallel between Ford and Vanderen. And then after some more planning, the party finally catches up to Yasha and Oban. However, they were unsuccessful with stopping them from retrieving the heart of Juriel and from getting the head from Oban. But we did again have another cool moment, or sad moment depending on how you look at it, of Bo and Yasha facing off. And unfortunately, due to some poor rolls, Oban and Yasha were able to escape, leaving the Laughing Hand behind, but they do now have the heart and head of Juriel. And it's clear that the entire party is very frustrated with the outcome, and Marisha even said that the Mighty Nine haven't won in a while. It's just been failure after failure. But I think failures are good for a story. While it is frustrating to watch and go through, it'll just make once they actually win and succeed against Oban that much more satisfying. And failure usually leads to more growth than winning does. So I'm interested to see how the party adapts moving forward, knowing that they're going to have another adversary to deal with. And at least for the time being, they don't really have to worry about the Laughing Hand. He doesn't have his master anymore, so he's just going to be roaming around, killing and doing whatever. Yeah, nothing to worry about. But overall, while this episode was mainly planning, there were still a lot of cool moments. Ford and the Laughing Hand, Bo facing off against Yasha. But with all of that being said, we are going to wrap up. Let me know all of your thoughts, feelings, and emotions during that episode. I hope you all have an absolutely wonderful rest of your weekend, and I will see you all in 2 weeks.